Commander Jake Ironside Morrison crossed his arms and shook his head at the intelligence briefing. Staff Sergeant Chen, I appreciate your dedication to this mission, but let's be realistic here. No one can make that shot not at 847 yards, not through that mountain pass, and certainly not with a window of opportunity measured in seconds. Hell, I've got marksmen with 20 years of experience who wouldn't even attempt it. 3 minutes and 47 seconds later, Chen's custom, 338, Lapua Magnum sent 3 precision rounds downrange in rapid succession. Confirmed kills, 3 enemy generals. Mission accomplished. Staff Sergeant Maya Chen adjusted her headset and studied the tactical display in the operations center buried deep within forward operating base hammer. At 28, she possessed the quiet composure of someone who had spent more time behind a scope than most people spent behind a desk. Her practical ponytail and standard issue ACUs gave no indication that she held the unofficial record for the longest confirmed kill shot in Marine Corps historia, record that remained buried in classified files 3 levels above top. Secret. Chen, you're on communications support for this operation, Commander Morrison announced, barely glancing in her direction. Keep the radio chatter clean and make sure our boys have clear channels when they move in. Roger that, sir. Her response was measured, professional. What Morrison didn't know, what none of them knew, was that Chen had grown up on a ranch in Montana where her grandfather, a Korean War veteran and competitive marksman, had taught her to shoot prairie dogs at distances that would make most military snipers weep. By age 16, she was outperforming Olympic-level marksmen. By 22, she had completed specialized training programs that didn't officially exist. The mission parameters were straightforward on paper. Eliminate a high-value target meeting scheduled to occur in a remote mountain compound 847 yards from the nearest concealment position. Intelligence indicated 3 enemy generals would be present military leaders responsible for coordinating attacks that had cost American lives for the past 18 months. The conventional approach called for a direct assault by SEAL Team 6, supported by air cover and artillery. Petty Officer First Class Tommy, Ghost Rodriguez spread the satellite imagery across the planning table. Approach vectors look clean until we hit the kill zone. That's where it gets interesting. He traced the route with his finger. 14 tangos minimum, probably more in concealment. RPGs, heavy machine gun nests, and at least 2 mortar positions. Chief Warrant Officer Mike Steady, Thompson nodded grimly. Casualties are inevitable with a direct assault. We're looking at a 50-50 chance of mission success, and that's optimistic. Chen studied the imagery with the trained eye of someone who understood ballistics, environmental factors, and the physics of precision shooting. The target building sat on a narrow ledge, accessible only through a mountain pass that funneled attackers into a natural kill zone. But from her perspective, she saw something else entirely. A perfect shooting position with clear lines of sight, minimal wind interference due to the mountain geography, and a target window that, while brief, was entirely feasible for someone with the right equipment and training. Sir, Chen spoke quietly, requesting permission to review the alternative engagement options. Morrison looked up from the tactical display. Alternative options? Chen, this is a SEAL operation. Your job is to keep the radios working, not to plan military strategy. Understood, sir. However, given the casualty projections for direct assault, perhaps a precision engagement from the North Ridge might achieve the mission objectives with minimal risk to personnel. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Hawk Martinez, the senior officer present, raised an eyebrow. The North Ridge? Chen, are you talking about the position at grid reference November 7742? That's nearly 3,000 yards from the target. 2,847 yards, ma'am. Well within feasible range for the right weapon system and environmental conditions. Rodriguez laughed. Staff Sergeant, with all due respect, that's not a shot, that's a prayer. Even our best long-range specialists max out at about 2,000 yards under perfect conditions. Thompson pulled up the ballistic computer on his tablet. Let's run the numbers. At 847 yards, we're talking about a bullet drop of approximately 890 inches, assuming standard atmospheric conditions. Add in the mountain winds, elevation changes, and the Coriolis effect, and you're looking at calculations that would challenge a supercomputer. Chen's expression remained neutral. I've reviewed the environmental data, sir. Morning thermal conditions in that pass create a predictable wind pattern. Humidity at 63%. Temperature steady at 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Barometric pressure at 29.87 inches. The Coriolis effect at this latitude adds approximately 14.7 inches of drift to the right. Manageable variables. Morrison stared at her for a long moment. Chen, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've worked with the best marksmen in the world. What you're describing isn't marksmanship, it's fantasy. The probability calculations approach zero. With respect, sir, probability calculations assume standard equipment and conventional training parameters. Are you telling me you can make a shot that Navy SEALs can't make? Chen met his gaze steadily. I'm telling you that physics and applied mathematics support the feasibility of the engagement, given the proper weapon system and environmental calculations. The room fell silent. Martinez leaned forward. Chen, what's your background in precision shooting? Designated marksman training at Quantico, ma'am. Some additional specialized instruction. What she didn't mention was the 18 months she'd spent with a classified program that trained military personnel in extreme-range precision shooting. What she didn't mention was her grandfather's influence, or the fact that she had been making impossible shots since before she could legally drink. What she didn't mention was the custom rifle waiting in her equipment locker, a weapon system that pushed the boundaries of what conventional military marksmen considered possible. Martinez checked her watch. We have 6 hours until the target window opens. Morrison, what's the backup plan if the direct assault encounters unexpected resistance? Artillery strike on the compound. Takes out everyone, including potential intelligence assets. Unacceptable. Those intelligence assets could save American lives. Martinez turned to Chen. Staff Sergeant, you have 2 hours to prepare a detailed engagement plan. If your calculations check out, we'll consider the precision option as our primary approach. Morrison's jaw tightened. Ma'am, with all due respect, we're about to risk mission success on the claims of a communications specialist who thinks she can outshoot SEAL Team 6. Noted, Commander. Chen, I want detailed ballistic calculations, environmental assessments, and equipment specifications in 90 minutes. Thompson, verify her numbers independently. Chen nodded. Roger that, ma'am. I'll need access to my personal equipment locker. Personal equipment? Rodriguez asked. Just some specialized gear, sir. Nothing outside regulations. As the team dispersed to prepare, Morrison approached Chen. I hope you know what you're doing, Staff Sergeant. Good Marines are going to die if you're wrong about this. Chen's response was quiet but firm. Sir, good Marines are going to die if we proceed with direct assault. I understand the tactical requirements. I also understand the capabilities of my equipment and training. Morrison studied her for a moment, noting the absolute certainty in her voice, the steady confidence that didn't waver under scrutiny. For the first time since the briefing began, he wondered if there might be more to Staff Sergeant Chen than her personnel file indicated. 2 hours later, Chen returned to the operations center carrying a rigid case that looked like it belonged in a NASA laboratory rather than a military armory. Thompson and Martinez were already reviewing printouts of atmospheric data, while Morrison and his SEAL team studied satellite feeds of the target area. Staff Sergeant, Martinez called out. Let's see what you've got. Chen opened the case with practiced precision, revealing a rifle that made the room go quiet. The weapon was a heavily modified Accuracy International AX-50, but the modifications were unlike anything the others had seen. The barrel was custom manufactured to specifications that pushed metallurgy to its limits. The scope was a Schmidt Bender 545x56 with custom turrets calibrated for extreme range calculations. The entire system had been engineered for shots that existed in the theoretical realm for most military marksmen. "Jesus Christ," Rodriguez whispered. "Where did you get that?" "Personal purchase, approved through proper channels," Chen replied. "All modifications documented and cleared through the appropriate security reviews." Thompson approached the weapon with the reverence of someone who understood precision engineering. This is not standard military equipment." "No, sir. It's designed for specialized applications requiring extreme range precision." Martinez examined the ballistic calculations Chen had prepared. "Walk me through your numbers, Staff Sergeant." Chen activated the tactical display and pulled up detailed topographical data. Target building at grid reference November 7742. Elevation 7, 943 feet above sea level. Shooting position at November 7689. Elevation 8, 247 feet. Horizontal distance 2, 847 yards. Angle of engagement -5.7 degrees. She advanced to the next screen. Environmental conditions at 600 hours. Temperature 42 degrees Fahrenheit. Relative humidity 63%. Barometric pressure 29.87 inches of mercury. Wind speed varies between 4 and 7 miles per hour, predominantly from the northwest due to thermal effects in the mountain pass. Morrison leaned over the display. "And you're telling me you can calculate for all of these variables?" "Sir, the ballistic computer integrated into my scope system processes these variables in real time. Bullet drop at this range is 889.7 inches, requiring 239.2 minutes of angle elevation adjustment. Wind drift totals 31.4 inches to the left, accounting for both crosswind and the thermal updrafts in the pass. The Coriolis effect adds 14.7 inches of drift to the right. Spin drift for this bullet weight and velocity contributes an additional 8.3 inches to the right." Thompson checked his own calculations. "My numbers match yours, but Chen, even with perfect calculations, we're talking about a target window of maybe 12 seconds when all three generals will be visible simultaneously." "Understood, sir. Intelligence reports indicate they will gather on the building's eastern balcony at precisely 630 hours for their morning briefing. Surveillance confirms this pattern has held consistent for the past 2 weeks." Rodriguez studied satellite imagery. "Okay, let's say your math is perfect. Let's say your rifle can actually reach that distance accurately. You're still talking about 3 separate targets, 3 separate calculations, 3 separate shots in less than 12 seconds. Chen's expression remained calm. "Correct, sir. The first shot will alert the targets. I'll have approximately 3.2 seconds before they begin evasive movement patterns. 3 shots, 3 different target solutions, executed in sequence." Morrison ran his hand through his hair. "This is insane. Chen, I've watched the best military marksmen in the world. What you're describing, it's not humanly possible. With respect, sir, it's a matter of preparation, equipment, and understanding the physics involved." Martinez pulled up Chen's personnel file on her tablet. "Staff Sergeant, your record shows designated marksman training, but nothing that would suggest this level of capability. Where did you acquire these skills?" Chen paused, choosing her words carefully. "Ma'am, some of my training history remains classified above your current clearance level. I can provide you with the contact information for verification, but that process would take several hours we don't have." The room erupted in skeptical murmurs. Thompson shook his head. "Come on, Chen. You're asking us to bet this entire operation on some mystery training that nobody can verify? I'm asking you to bet this operation on ballistic science and proven marksmanship principles, sir. The training is simply the foundation that makes the application possible. Morrison stood up abruptly. This is ridiculous. Martinez, we're talking about risking American lives based on the claims of someone who won't even tell us where she learned to shoot. Sir, Chen interjected, the direct assault plan shows a 68% probability of friendly casualties, with mission success rated at 47%. The precision engagement eliminates friendly casualty risk while achieving a 93% probability of mission success. 93%? Based on what? Chen met his gaze. Based on documented performance in similar conditions, sir. Martinez made her decision. We're running out of time. Morrison, continue preparations for the direct assault as our backup plan. Chen, you'll have one opportunity to execute your precision engagement. If you miss any of the 3 targets, we immediately execute the assault plan. Understood, ma'am. Rodriguez checked his watch. Insertion to the North Ridge position takes 90 minutes by helicopter. We need to move now to make the timeline. Thompson gathered his equipment. Chen, I'm going with you as your spotter. If you're attempting the impossible, you're not doing it alone. Morrison approached Chen as the team prepared to move out. Staff Sergeant, I hope to God you know what you're doing. If you miss, my boys are walking into a kill zone with their pants down. Chen shouldered her rifle case. Sir, I understand the stakes. I also understand my capabilities. Physics doesn't lie, and neither do 20 years of practice. As they headed for the helicopter, Martinez pulled Chen aside. One more time, Staff Sergeant. Are you absolutely certain about this? Chen's response was quiet but unwavering. Ma'am, I've been making impossible shots since I was 16 years old. The only difference now is that it matters. At 545 hours, Chen lay prone on the North Ridge, her custom rifle system deployed on a precision bipod that cost more than most people's cars. Thompson lay beside her, spotting scope trained on the target building 2, 847 yards away. The early morning air was crystal clear, and the thermal winds in the mountain pass were behaving exactly as her calculations had predicted. Tango Base, this is Overwatch. In position and ready for engagement, Chen reported through her throat mic. Martinez's voice crackled back through the comm system. Roger, Overwatch. The target window opens in 42 minutes. Assault teams are standing by. Thompson studied the atmospheric conditions through his spotting scope. Chen, winds are steady at 5 miles per hour from the northwest, just like you predicted. The temperature is 42 degrees. Chen made minute adjustments to her scope turrets, dialing in the precise calculations she had refined during the helicopter flight. Her ballistic computer displayed the firing solution: 239.2 minutes of angle elevation, 2.1 minutes left windage, accounting for all environmental variables. The range was confirmed at 847 yards, she reported. The ballistic computer shows green across all parameters. Morrison's voice came through the radio, tense with skepticism. Overwatch, are you seriously telling me you can hit 3 different targets at nearly 3,000 yards? Affirmative. Tango Base. Physics and applied mathematics support the engagement parameters. Thompson lowered his spotting scope. Chen, I've been a military marksman for 12 years. I've never even attempted a shot at this distance. How are you so calm about this? Chen's response was matter of fact. Because I've done it before, sir. Different targets, similar conditions. The rifle performs consistently, and the ballistic principles don't change. At 629 hours, Thompson's voice sharpened. Movement on the target balcony. I count 3 individuals exiting the building. Chen acquired the targets through her scope. Even at maximum magnification, the 3 enemy generals appeared as small figures on a distant balcony. but her scope's advanced optics and ranging system painted a clear picture. 3 men in military uniforms, positioned exactly as intelligence had predicted. Tango Base, this is Overwatch. 3 targets acquired. Requesting permission to engage. Permission granted, Overwatch. You are cleared to fire. Chen's breathing steadied into the controlled rhythm she had practiced thousands of times. The first target, the primary general responsible for coordinating attacks against American forces, stood at the left edge of the balcony. Her crosshairs settled on a point precisely calculated to account for bullet drop, wind drift, and the time of flight. Target 1 acquired. Sending, she whispered. The rifle's report echoed across the mountain valley. Through her scope, Chen tracked the bullet's path for the 4.2 seconds it took to reach the target. The 300-grain projectile struck the first general's center mass in the head, exactly as calculated. Confirmed hit on target 1, Thompson called out, his voice filled with disbelief. Chen was already acquiring the second target, a logistics coordinator whose convoy routes had enabled months of attacks on American supply lines. The remaining 2 generals were beginning to react to the first shot, but their movement was predictable trained military personnel responding to sniper fire by seeking cover. Her second shot followed 2.8 seconds after the first. The ballistic solution was nearly identical, with minor adjustments for the target's slight movement. Target 2 down, Thompson reported, his professional composure cracking slightly. Jesus Christ, Chen, how are you doing this? The third general was already moving toward the building entrance, but Chen had anticipated this reaction. Her final target solution accounted for the man's predicted position at the moment of bullet impact, leading him by precisely the right distance. Her third shot fired 3.1 seconds after the second. Through the scope, she watched the third general collapse just as he reached the doorway. All 3 targets were neutralized. Thompson reported, his voice barely steady. Confirmed kills at 847 yards. Times were, Jesus, Chen, that was 11 seconds total. The radio exploded with voices. Morrison's tone had changed completely. Overwatch, say again. Did you just eliminate all 3 targets? Affirmative. Tango Base. 3 confirmed kills. Mission objectives achieved. Rodriguez's voice came through, stunned. Unfucking believable. I've never seen anything like it. Martinez's command voice cut through the chatter. Overwatch. Excellent work. All teams. Mission accomplished. Begin extraction procedures. Thompson was staring at Chen through his spotting scope, watching her calmly begin breaking down her rifle system. Chen, who the hell are you? Where did you learn to shoot like that? Chen's response was characteristically understated. Just doing my job, sir. Physics, applied mathematics, and practice. Practice? At 3,000 yards? Against moving targets? With 11 seconds total engagement time? Chen shouldered her rifle case. My grandfather always said that if you're not practicing shots that seem impossible, you're not practicing hard enough. As they prepared for helicopter extraction, Thompson radioed back to base. Tango Base, this is Spotter. I want it on record that I just witnessed the most extraordinary display of marksmanship in my career. Staff Sergeant Chen has redefined what's possible with precision shooting. Morrison's voice crackled back, no longer skeptical. Copy that, Spotter. Chen, when you get back to base, we need to have a very different conversation about your background and capabilities. Chen keyed her mic one final time before the extraction helicopter arrived. Roger that, sir. Though some of that conversation may require higher security clearances than currently available. 6 hours later, in the secure briefing room at Fob Hammer, the atmosphere had changed completely. Morrison sat across from Chen, no longer the dismissive SEAL commander, but a military professional recognizing extraordinary capability. Martinez had spent the intervening time making secure phone calls to verify Chen's classified training history calls that revealed training programs and skill assessments that existed several levels above the current operations. Security clearance. Staff Sergeant Chen, Morrison began, I owe you an apology. I also owe you the acknowledgement that what you accomplished today will change how we approach long-range precision operations. Chen maintained her characteristic composure. Sir, I appreciate that, but I was simply applying proven marksmanship principles under controlled conditions. Thompson shook his head. Controlled conditions? Chen, you eliminated 3 moving targets at a distance that most marksmen consider theoretical, under time pressure, with perfect accuracy. Rodriguez pulled up the after-action report on his tablet. Intelligence confirms all 3 targets eliminated. Secondary intelligence indicates the enemy command structure in this sector has been completely disrupted. Attacks against American forces have ceased pending reorganization. Martinez leaned forward. Chen, your personnel file has been updated to reflect specialized marksmanship capabilities, though the specific details of today's engagement remain classified at the highest levels. What you've demonstrated suggests training and capabilities that go well beyond standard military parameters. Ma'am, I understand the classified nature of specialized training programs. Some capabilities are developed for situations that we hope never arise but must be prepared for. Morrison studied her carefully. The rifle system you use today, that's not something you picked up at the base exchange. The modifications, the ballistic computer integration, the scope specifications, we're looking at a weapon system designed for applications that don't officially exist. Chen's response was measured. Sir, all equipment purchases and modifications were approved through appropriate channels and documented properly. The applications may be specialized, but they remain within legal and regulatory parameters. Thompson consulted his notes from the operation. Chen, your ballistic calculations were perfect to the 10th of an inch at nearly 3,000 yards. That level of precision suggests computer modeling and environmental analysis capabilities that exceed standard military training. Precision shooting is primarily applied physics and environmental science, sir. The calculations are complex but manageable with proper preparation and equipment. Martinez received a classified message on her secured tablet. After reading it, she looked up with a new understanding. Staff Sergeant, I've just received confirmation of your training history. While I can't discuss the specific programs involved, I can confirm that your capabilities today align with documented performance assessments. Rodriguez grinned. So you're telling us that Chen has been holding back this entire time? That she could have been making impossible shots all along? Chen smiled slightly the first time any of them had seen her break her professional composure. Sir, I've never held back. I've simply waited for a mission that required my particular skill set. Morrison stood and extended his hand. Staff Sergeant, it's been an honor serving alongside you. When this operation is declassified, probably about 20 years from now, military marksmen around the world are going to study what you accomplished today. Sir, I appreciate that, but what I accomplished today was simply the application of training, preparation, and equipment to achieve mission objectives with minimal risk to personnel. Thompson gathered his equipment. Chen, one last question. That shot today, was it really as routine for you as you made it seem? Chen considered the question. Sir, every shot is unique. Environmental conditions, target variables, equipment performance, they all combine to create specific challenges, but the fundamentals remain consistent. Preparation, calculation, and execution. But 3 targets, 11 seconds, moving positions, 3,000 yards. Physics doesn't change based on difficulty, sir. If the calculations are correct and the equipment performs as designed, the results should be predictable. Martinez made final notes in her classified report. This operation will likely influence long-range precision training protocols across multiple service branches. Your approach to ballistic calculation and environmental assessment represents a significant advancement in marksmanship capabilities. Ma'am, I'm honored to contribute to improved training methodologies, though I suspect some of the specific techniques may remain classified for operational security reasons. Morrison checked his watch. Chen, you've got 48 hours of downtime before your next assignment. I suggest you get some rest. And Chen? Yes, sir? Next time I have a mission that seems impossible, I'm calling you first. Chen shouldered her equipment case. Sir, there's no such thing as impossible. There are only problems that require creative solutions and adequate preparation. As the team dispersed, Thompson caught up with Chen in the corridor. One more thing, your grandfather, the one who taught you to shoot. Was he really just a Korean War veteran? Chen paused, considering her response. Sir, my grandfather served his country with distinction in multiple capacities over several decades. Some of his service history remains classified. Thompson nodded slowly. I'm beginning to understand that there's a lot about you that remains classified. Sir, there are many military personnel whose full capabilities and training history operate above standard clearance levels. We serve quietly, professionally, and when needed, we apply specialized skills to achieve mission objectives. And the next time someone says a shot can't be made? Chen's response carried the quiet confidence that had defined her throughout the operation. Sir, I've learned that most limitations are assumptions rather than facts. Physics, proper preparation, and the right equipment can overcome most assumptions. As she walked toward her quarters, Chen reflected on the day's events. Commander Morrison had said no one could make that shot. 3 enemy generals were now dead, American lives had been saved, and an entire enemy command structure had been disrupted. Sometimes the best way to prove something was possible was simply to do it. The official after-action report would remain classified for decades. The 3 precision shots at 847 yards, would become legend among military marksmen, though the details would never be publicly acknowledged. And Staff Sergeant Maya Chen would continue her quiet service, ready for the next time someone said something couldn't be done, because in her experience, impossible was just another word for hasn't been attempted by the right person with the right preparation. Subscribe if you believe that impossible is just an opinion, and that with the right training, preparation, and dedication, ordinary people can achieve extraordinary things that change the world.